Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boss Babe Blog Podcast. I'm your host, KeTohn, and today's topic and discussion is going to be about de-stressing and taking care of yourself. So, the name of this episode is De-Stress, Please, because your mental health is the top priority. I need you to listen to me, and I need you to listen very, very, very carefully. Take a deep breath with me as I say this and hold my hand virtually. Nothing else matters. Just had a conversation on our motivation room with entrepreneurs in our community. Miriam Jackson, founder of the queensdigitalstudio.net and Travel with MJ. And I also talked with Nicole, founder of JC Fashion Finds Boutique, as well as Lacole. And one of the topics that MJ was talking about was how when she was going into surgery for some really big changes that were happening in her life at a very early time in her life, she said that everything else in life just completely vanished. Her cares and her thoughts of anything else outside of, am I going to survive, vanished. And I didn't talk about it on the podcast, but that feeling resonated so deeply with me because it took me back to when I went to the emergency room because I thought that I was having a stroke because of how hard I was working myself down to the bone, stressing myself out for people, places, and things that would be there tomorrow, but I wouldn't if I didn't take care of myself. And I had to take a moment and pause because it just brought me back to that moment at the time when I was stressing myself out, overworking my body, doing the absolute most, not resting, not taking care of myself, not catering to myself. I really wasn't thinking of it like it was that important. I was thinking about, I have to get this done for business. I have to grow my brand. I have to get this paperwork to her. I have to have this conversation with him. I have to be here for that. And the day that I was sitting down, I will never forget it because I was sitting down working when it happened. And all of a sudden, I started to feel a numbness and like a tingling sensation on the right side of my body. And although strokes are not as common for people in my age range, like in their 20s and 30s, unfortunately, it is possible. And being that it's possible, that's where my mind went. My mind went there because my grandmother had a stroke. And when she had a stroke, she lost feeling on an entire side of her body to the point where she was unable to move her hand, her leg the same after having this stroke. So I instantly thought, oh my goodness, I have repeated a cycle in the worst way. Like, I've worked myself down to the bone. I've stressed myself out to this point that now I'm losing feeling on the right side of my body. And immediately I started to tear up because I was like, oh my God, I've pushed myself way past this limit. Like, I've gone way too far. And why didn't I tell myself to stop? Why didn't I tell myself to pause? These are all questions that are going through my brain as I'm preparing to go to the emergency room. And I don't like going to the hospital, the emergency room, the urgent, nothing. I do not like going. If I could do it at home, I would do it at home. My family, my friends will tell you I have to be dragged up there to the emergency room. So for me to offer to go just tells you how fearful I was that I was losing my ability to move my whole side of my body permanently due to stress. So when I got there and they looked at my body and they said, it's not normal that you would experience a stroke, or it's not normal that you would do that, it started to click for me. Like, nothing else mattered in that moment. All I could think about was how I had damaged my body in a way that I didn't have to. Like, some accidents and some things that happen to our bodies, we are not in control of, but in many cases, we are in control of it. What you put in your body, the food that you eat, the people that you spend time with, because yes, they do take years off your life if they're stressing you out, the negativity that you might be around or that you avoid, the fitness, are you working out? Are you staying active? These are all things that contribute to our body and the changes that happen in our body. So it's really important that if you're able to make a difference, make that difference. Don't say, oh, I'll leave it to chance, because in that moment, when you think that you have lost the ability to do something, or when you think you've damaged yourself in a way that you didn't have to, nothing else matters. So in that moment, all I could think about was my grandmother and how I didn't want to experience what she experienced, which was a very independent woman having to depend on other people to do specific things for her because she was no longer physically able to do it. And I'm sure she felt like a burden at times because she didn't like to ask people for help. So it was a really terrifying feeling, but it was a eye opener for me. And from that day on, I realized I wasn't putting myself in any situations where I'm stressing myself out like that. And the more I started to get into that mindset, the easier it became, and it started to transfer into other areas of my life and in my business. Now, there's nothing, there's no one, there's no thing on this earth that I will allow to stress me. There's no one that I will allow to push or disrespect my boundaries that I have clearly put in place, that I have clearly communicated. It won't be allowed. You will simply not be in my life. And I had to do that for myself because mental health, physical health is important. And stress, it takes people's lives. It does. It takes years off their life and it takes their lives. So don't be that person that's stressing about every single thing except for taking care of yourself. Learn that you can't be everything to everyone, and learn that you can't be everywhere all the time, and learn that you can't help everybody. Tell people what you're about, tell them where they can get it, and allow them to come get it. And if they don't, then they just don't want it. That's just it. In every area of your life. You don't need to go run behind people. You don't need to keep repeating yourself to people about stuff you've already expressed to them. You don't need to keep reminding someone something. Now, maybe once or twice, okay, but to consistently keep telling you something, to consistently keep telling you that I have a boundary and you're just consistently pushing past it, at this point, I would be doing myself a disservice to even stress myself out further. So I say all of this to say, take a pause, and whatever it is that you think is more important than your mental health and your physical health, I need you to breathe in, breathe out, and say it out loud with me. This is not more important than my health. Find solutions that do not require you to break yourself down. That's the message. I hope this podcast resonated with a hardworking woman or man, and I hope that you take this moment to remember not to let people stress you out. At the end of the day, boundaries are boundaries. Start setting them. You have to. Because if you don't, people are going to continuously do things that you have clearly expressed you don't like, or that you have clearly expressed you don't do. So you have to decide, is it going to be their comfort, or is it going to be your elevation and your peace? You choose. Because if them being comfortable means that you have to be stressed out, overworking yourself, repeating the same thing over and over again, not being appreciated, then trust me, you don't want that relationship, because there are friends, there are family members, there are relationships, and there are business partnerships, whatever you want to call them, that are not wanting you to break yourself down just for the sake of them being built up. It's a mutual thing. We work together, we grow together, and we both are happy. It's not just about me, I, and what I want, and you just should be uncomfortable because I want this. That's not what we're doing. So make sure you take a breath and make sure you prioritize yourself first. Thank you for listening to the Boss Babe Blog podcast. I will be back to have some more conversations. Bye-bye.